I, 25 female, am separated from my husband, 26 male, due to cheating on me with several call girls. I have a 1-year-old daughter that he only gets to see on the weekends due to him bringing home girls on days when I was working, and he was supposed to be watching our daughter. My ex-mother-in-law is one of those crazy Christians you see on TV. Imagine Carrie's mom if she had a mama's boy's son who obeyed her instead. And she fully blames me for the divorce, since if I wasn't such a shameful and sinful woman, he wouldn't have had cheated. I'm agnostic and I'm raising our daughter away from religion. I only allow her in my house because my former father-in-law is a sweet man who loves his grandchild. He survived cancer a few years back and COVID 2 years ago. He's just too tired to stand up to her, so I don't blame him when he can't get her to be quiet. Recently, they were visiting my daughter, and once my former father-in-law took her outside, she started on her usual insults. Honestly, I was tired, and I had worked a long shift the night before, and I was low on sleep, so I just told her she can't judge my divorce since she forced her husband to stay with her despite being a cheating pig like her son. Well, I basically set off Hiroshima, and she went full on yelling, grabbed my former father-in-law, and they left. My ex-husband called me later that day about how I called his mother a whore, and honestly, he can't judge. He was one too, which led to him yelling and me just hanging up because I was just too tired. Now she's calling everyone, telling people how I insulted her, and while some agree with her that the divorce is worse than cheating, others say her infidelity was worse. Father-in-law only stayed with her because she was pregnant with my husband at the time. So am I the a-hole for calling out my ex-mother-in-law cheating after she wouldn't shut up about my divorce? Edit. My brother-in-law and I are helping my former father-in-law get a divorce by proving spousal abuse. My ex-mother-in-law does not allow him any access to my child or many things in his own life without her permission, or else she will throw a violent tantrum. My ex is not my former father-in-law's biological child, and no test was needed due to him being half Asian, while my former in-laws were both Caucasian. He stayed to raise my ex and his daughters. His daughters are his biological kids. Their twins are a few years older than me, and both are no contact with their mother. Now for the top of advices. Not the a-hole, but honestly, stop inviting her over. If she wants to see the baby, they can see her on dad's time at the weekend. Not the a-hole, yeah. If you tell the father-in-law that he's always welcome to see his grandchild, but she is not welcome in your home, maybe see if he wants to leave her, he can move in and be a stay-at-home grandpa. You get support, and plus he gets peace. Not the a-hole, but you should have gone lower. I would have said he learned the cheating from you, so shut up. Not the a-hole, nothing worse than hypo-Christians. Share that old standby, judge not lest ye be judged. Talk to an attorney, but I believe that she continues to trash talk about you. It will be considered parental alienation, and you will limit her contact with your child. It's not healthy for you or your child. Story 2. This is going to be long, I'm warning you. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and I'm shaking. I need to write it down and hear some advice. My sister is just so creepy towards my boyfriend. I can't take it anymore. She was really spoiled by my parents when she was young because she was their first child. She always wants everything, and when we were little, she always used to steal my toys, books, clothes, etc. I was never allowed to touch any of her things, but she constantly stole my stuff and was always rude to me. My mom, for some reason, has always preferred her over me, and thus, most of the time, I was told to let it go. Due to this, I have lots of resentment towards her, and I don't really like her. I'm honestly sick of her behavior, and I just want some peace and quiet in my house. My mom called me 2 weeks ago pleading to let my sister stay with me because she doesn't have a job right now, and she can't stay alone during quarantine. Both my parents are high risk. My mom has heart problems, and my dad is asthmatic, so I thought I should let her stay with me and my boyfriend instead of letting her go to my parents in case she infects them. There's been a few cases where she is so I didn't want to risk it. I'm honestly just starting to regret it. Her behavior is creepy and strange and downright disgusting. First of all, she doesn't respect me at all. She's constantly ignoring me while having long talks with my boyfriend. She doesn't leave my boyfriend alone. She flirts with him and constantly tries to touch him by using cheap tricks. When we watch movies, she pushes me away and tries to snuggle with my boyfriend. She slaps his butt when he walks by and loudly tells him how he has a perky little butt. She also runs her fingers through his hair every day saying, "Whoa, your hair is so soft," or some shit like that. What the hell? These are all just excuses to touch him. She just needs a chance. Another thing she does is ask him if he has abs so she can touch his torso. Or say, "Did you see this thing I lost? Maybe it's in your pocket, let me see." And proceed to pat his thighs. One time, she wanted help with looking for her bra and she just fucking walks out in her underwear. She came to our room and my boyfriend was in the bathroom. The logical thing to do is just ask me. I'm her sister. But what does she do? She just waits for my boyfriend and asks him instead, even though I'm sitting right there. I think I looked very upset because my boyfriend just told her no and she went back to her room. She didn't try that again. This is not even all. My boyfriend and I can't even talk to each other without her interrupting us. She barges into our room with no warning. A few days ago, we were trying to have sex, and I don't know how she realized it and started banging on the door, claiming to have a headache. I opened the door and asked her what was wrong. I told her I had pills for it, but she just said she doesn't trust me and she wanted to talk to my boyfriend instead. After disturbing us, she was suddenly completely fine and her headache disappeared miraculously. She just came into our bedroom and started talking to my boyfriend. We were literally half naked and there was no way she didn't know. This is driving me crazy. What does she want? Why is she like this? It's not like I didn't talk to her. I was just so angry she interrupted us because she was doing this since she came here. I was feeling horny and angry. I just told her to get out and that we needed some alone time. I don't want to go into details, but we had a small argument and she started crying. The thing is, she never accepts it. She's completely blind to what she's doing. She denies doing it and sheds tears, which ends up making me feel bad instead. My boyfriend is so uncomfortable by all this. He just looks exhausted all the time. He's trying his best to be nice, but she's all over him all the time. He's usually very introverted, shy, and quiet. He's not very confrontational, and I know this is bothering him. When I talked to him about it, he just commented that it was a bad idea to invite her to stay here. He also said to not ever invite her again. I want to know why she is like this. How can I make her see what she's doing? I'm done dealing with her. I don't want to ever see her again, but she's my parents' favorite child, and no matter how hard I try, I can never escape her. Whenever I try to cut contacts with her, my mom calls me and begs me to forgive her. My mom is always taking my sister's side and everything, and it's always me who has to be the understanding and smart and older when I'm the younger one here. Please tell me I'm not overreacting. How do I make my mom and sister realize that I'm sick of dealing with this? Now for the top of advices before reading the update. No, you really don't, and you'll be kicking yourself later if she becomes the reason your relationship becomes rocky. Get that cancerous cunt out of your home ASAP. You owe nothing to her. At this point, I don't think a conversation would suffice. As you've said, she is well within her rights to boot her ass now, and that's what OP should do. Clearly, the sister wants to sleep with the boyfriend and break them up. Not because she wants the boyfriend or even likes him, but because she's jealous of whatever her sister has. It is okay for OP to be estranged yourself from your sister. Estrangement is taboo and it isn't talked about a lot, but it is common. Just because your family doesn't mean you or your boyfriend, who is being sexually harassed, should put up with that shit. Basically, if I were you, I'd talk about it with your boyfriend, then together ask her to pack her shit and leave. So your mother will stand for your sister while she's way out of boundaries with you. How do you feel about kicking her out and stopping this toxic relationship? Yeah, it will hurt. You have no solution here. Is there a way to send her home to your parents with zero interaction with the outside world to make sure it will be done safely? I just want her gone from my home. I'm completely done with this. But I know she'll start crying and begging until she gets what she wants. Then I'll have to be understanding as always. Start packing her stuff. Because she will wiggle and plead, cry, beg you to let her stay, and that she will stop. You accept it. It will be calm for like 1 or 2 days, and then just like a 5-year-old kid, will test again the limits and play you again for your sanity. For your sake and hers, grow up and get her out. This is unhealthy. Now for the update. Hi, first of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your help. I'm truly grateful for all the support I've received here, and all those little messages some of you have sent me really made me understand the situation I was in. The many comments I read here gave me the strength that I needed to talk to my sister. Thank you guys. I should probably tell you that this might not be the perfect badass ending you're all expecting, and I apologize for that. I've always had a hard time standing up against my sister. Like I said in my original post, my boyfriend doesn't like confrontations either, and he's also a huge people pleaser, which makes this situation harder for both of us. Nevertheless, I finally decided to talk to my sister yesterday. She was actually sitting in my living room in her underwear and bra, and I completely lost my shit. I told her multiple times to wear some clothes, but she said it was too hot, which it was not. She then made a small comment about me being insecure about my boyfriend, liking her or something like that, and that made me angry. I sat her down and we talked. I told her she was making me uncomfortable. She was making my boyfriend uncomfortable, and we wanted her to leave. She looked very shocked by it because I don't think I have ever talked to her like that. She immediately apologized though. She said that she didn't know or some bullshit which I wasn't going to fall for this time. I gave her an ultimatum. She needed to pack her shit and get out in 3 hours. She looked very emotional and she apologized a lot, saying sorry a lot, and told me that she loved me. She said that she would never intentionally try to hurt me. If I misunderstood her actions, it wasn't her fault. She kept saying she didn't know. She said she was trying to be friendly to my boyfriend, which is not true at all. I asked her if sexually harassing someone was being friendly to her, and she started crying. By this time, my boyfriend, who was in our bedroom avoiding my sister in skimpy clothing, came to support me. She kind of directed her questions towards him. She asked him if she was making him uncomfortable, and he said yes. And she cried and apologized. She then tried to gain his sympathy by saying that I was kicking her out when she had no place to go. She also lied that I was always being mean to her. She completely ignored me and asked him if she could stay. She had nowhere else to go. Of course, he said no. What the hell did she think? I will forever remember the look on her face. So yeah, she actually refused to leave, cried a lot, and said she was jobless and she didn't have any money, no place to stay, no friends, etc. I told her she had no friends because she was a bitch, the first time I said something like this to my sister. She then tried to guilt trip me to let her stay by repeating the words, "I'm your sister, family, I love you," etc. Me and my boyfriend helped her pack all her stuff and put it next to her in the car. I told her that she can stay in her car. I didn't care. I wanted her to go. It wasn't really epic like some of you wanted. I was actually crying a little while I was shouting at her because I was shaking so much. At one point, my boyfriend had to tell me to calm down. It was just so overwhelming. I'm just glad she's gone. She did leave eventually. She was calling someone, and I'm pretty sure she went back to her own flat. Thank goodness she's not going to my parents because I don't think she knows how to quarantine. I know she won't quarantine, and this is the main reason I was hesitant to kick her out. 2 to 3 hours after she left, my mom called and yelled at me for kicking her out. I shouldn't have been shocked when she accused my boyfriend of bothering my sister. My mom asked me what kind of man I was dating. I should leave him, etc. I shouldn't have expected that, really. I tried to reason with her, but my mom was just so angry at me. She asked me things like, how can you do this to your own sister, and similar bullshit she should be asking my sister. At that point, I was just so angry. I was in tears and shaking. I just told her to F off in anger and hung up. It was just a weird day. I'm proud of myself for finally standing up to my sister, but I'm also don't really feel like getting up from my bed. My boyfriend is back to his cheerful self, and I'm happy about that, but I just feel like such an idiot. I should have realized that my mom would never take my side a long time ago. I just don't understand what I did to make my mom so angry at me. Why doesn't she love me? I have done everything she asked me to do, but she never takes my side in anything. I just want her to love me and support me for once. It just never happens, and I feel like an idiot for even trying. I think she regrets I was even born. Anyway, I'm done trying to reason with them. My mom will never believe me. Pretty sure my sister lied to her, so mom keeps calling and trying to speak to my boyfriend. I'm currently thinking of cutting off all of my family. All they do is make me feel like shit. I deserve better than that. My boyfriend deserves better than that, and I apologize for venting. What's done is done. I don't regret it. I'm glad I have my boyfriend, and he loves me unlike my family. And we finally have some alone time. He's been so moody, but right now he's actually cooking and stuff, and he hasn't done that ever since my sister came here, so yeah, I'm glad she's gone. My boyfriend is glad she's gone. I finally have some peace and quiet in my home. Thank you so much to everyone. I don't think I can thank you all enough. Some of you talked to me, sent me messages, and it really opened my eyes. I'll take care of myself and my boyfriend now. Thank you. Edit. Thank you, everyone. I've been reading your comments, and I'm still shocked by the support I've received here. Please know that I appreciate it so much, even though I may not be able to reply. Thank you. Story 3. My boyfriend, 25 male, and I, 23 female, have been dating for a year now. To give it more context, he's white and I'm 100% Canadian, and I was born in Kenya, moved to Canada when I was 1. I had never met his parents because they live 3 hours away from us, and he's not so super close to them anyway. When lockdown started and both our jobs closed, he asked if I wanted to spend a few weeks with them so I could meet them and visit his hometown. I said, sure, sounds like fun. We drove there on a Friday night, and when my boyfriend introduced me to his parents, they were super nice. We were talking, laughing, all that good stuff. When it was getting late, my boyfriend and I decided to prepare for bed and went upstairs. When he was already in bed, he realized he forgot his charger downstairs and asked me if I could please go get it. When I was walking down the stairs, I heard his mother, still at the kitchen table, mention my name. So being nosy, I stopped and listened. They said it was nice, and I was happy to hear that, but then his father said, it's a shame she is a derogatory N-word though. His mother answered, as long as he doesn't marry her, it's fine, and he won't. And he knows we would be disappointed. I kind of froze up, waited for them to change the subject, got my boyfriend's charger, and went upstairs. I didn't know how to feel, and I still don't. I'm lucky enough to have never dealt with this kind of racism, so I am a bit lost on what to do. What his mother said implies that my boyfriend knows his parents are not happy with him being with me. Is this why he's waited so long to introduce them to me? And why he didn't warn me that his parents don't want him dating a black girl? Do I even want to talk to him about it? I don't want to cause more drama, but at the same time, I'm mad and also sad. I know we're not there yet, but would his parents' disapproval stop him from marrying me? And if we have kids, will their grandparents hate them because they're not white enough? I love my boyfriend so much, and I know he loves me, but I don't know what to do and how to go about this. Now for the top of advices before reading the update. You definitely need to talk with your boyfriend about this. You need the emotional support and loving care to remind you that he chose you, and to hell with his racist parents. Let him deal with them, and don't try to bottle up these emotions. He needs to stand up to them tomorrow. You still have 2 more weeks there. He needs to confront them and tell them how screwed up this is. Definitely tell your boyfriend. I can't believe they called you an N-word either. It's despicable. To be honest, he knew how they would react, and that's why he never introduced her to them to begin with. The only way this will work out is if they become acclimated with her. The shut-in will help, hopefully. They have preconceived notions, and those take time to change. What she does have is time on her side. Yeah, for me, it was my grandfather. I knew he had the societal racism that was part of their generation, but I had no idea how actively racist he was until I had my first girlfriend, who was of Indian descent, and he made some comments. My mom shut that down hard, and he never said anything like that again around us, but it was eye-opening. I've had some friends, too, who didn't realize how outright racist their parents were until they brought home a boy or a girlfriend of another race and were confronted with it. As a black woman, I'm not sure how this would work without her compromising herself emotionally. His parents are secret racist. If they stay together, they will be her black children's grandparents. Yes, people do change, but it's just so sad that you're in this position with his family. But yes, do talk to him, as the views of his parents do not reflect his own. You cannot keep this to yourself. I definitely wouldn't be staying at their house, but that's just me. Now for the update. I decided to tell my boyfriend what had happened. I told him last night at 2 a.m. He was livid. I barely had time to finish the story before he started packing our bags. He kept on apologizing for the situation he put me in, and I could see how horrible he felt about all of this. He told me he wanted to talk to his parents about what they said and asked if I wanted to be part of the conversation or if I'd rather wait in the car. Not being a person who likes confrontation at all, I hesitated but ultimately said I wanted to be there. I just didn't want to actively participate in the conversation. I was too uncomfortable. He woke his parents up, sat them down, and told them what I had heard. They were clearly extremely uncomfortable and kind of just stared at him, like they couldn't believe he was doing this. He told them it was unacceptable and how ashamed he was of them. He also told them that when and if we decided to speak to them again, they better be ready to sincerely apologize and do better because he wouldn't tolerate anything else. He also mentioned that their opinion would have no impact on who he would decide to marry. His mom looked like she wanted to say something, but he didn't let her. Got up and we left. We were quite shaking up on the ride home, but he took the time to explain to me what he knew of why his parents behaved this way. Basically, he remembers his parents making racist remarks here and there when he was little, not just about black people, but POC in general. He didn't really know it was wrong until he got out of his hometown and realized his parents were very wrong in their views. With time, he saw his parents less and less because their views regarding race and other issues just didn't align with his at all anymore, and it would create animosity every time he visited them. When he met me, even though before we became a couple and were just friends, he would often post pictures of us on Facebook, and his parents would see them. They never mentioned anything. When they learned that we were a couple, they said they wanted to meet me, and he wasn't sure of their sincerity. He said they talked about me when they would call him, and for a whole year, my boyfriend basically tried to make sure that they were actually okay with our relationship. His parents kept saying not to worry, that they had learned from their past mistakes, and asking him to trust them. After a year, he finally believed them, and that's when he decided to introduce us. He was so happy to see how nice and accepting they were towards me. He said himself he was too naive. He was pretty much crying telling me all this, but I could tell he tried not to because he felt responsible and didn't want to make it about himself. Maybe it makes me dumb, but I don't blame him. I know him, and he wouldn't put me in a situation like that on purpose. I believe him when he says he truly thought that they had changed. He apologized numerous times and told me I never had to see them again, and that he wouldn't either for a very long while. He was already not close to them, and this situation didn't help at all. He made it a point to say that what his mother said about him wasn't true, that he wouldn't marry me because he knows they would disapprove. We talked about it a lot since last night. We barely slept, and I decided I do want to stay with him. A big majority of the comments under my last post told me that my best option was to leave him, a lot of it coming from POC. And I understand why, but I do love him very much, and I really do not want to leave him because his parents hate our relationship. I think I would regret it. I'm not saying it'll be easy and maybe I'm making a mistake, but I want to be with him. Maybe it's disappointing to a lot of you, but it's my decision. By the way, I didn't contact Daily Mail. They published my post without asking me. Thank you all very much for your advice. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like and subscribe to our channel.